Okie dokie, everyone. Welcome back to the Surfside Recovery Podcast. We might as well get off on the right foot. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Speechless. It's just that cool.
I like the shirt. On a rating for summer Hawaiian shirts, there's nothing Hawaiian about that.
No, it's just a cool shirt.
Cool shirt.
Cool shirt.
I have a cool shirt on, but I wouldn't rate it as right. Repair is radical, right? Don't throw away. It means don't throw things away. It means fix things, repair things instead of making unnecessary waste. I think it's a cool shirt. I wouldn't say it's a Hawaiian shirt or want to rank for it.
So the problem with
you?
Well, there's a bunch of problems with me. The problem with repairing stuff these days is stuff isn't made to be repaired. It's made to just be tossed.
Nike is a massive culprit. Nike actually...
tilt that mic up to you a little bit more.
Nike changed the system. Vanity Fair, Victoria's Secret. Magazine? Yeah, like all that like fashion type stuff. Mm-hmm. They went from like a 3-season or a 4-season apparel line to like a 10-season apparel line.
We talked about this.
We had talked about this.
Right, okay.
Because Patagonia still does a 2-season apparel line.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying they produce less clothes. But I mean, even like shoes. So, like I remember as a kid going with my dad to like a cobbler at the mall, and he would get his soles repaired. But now, I mean, you just chuck shoes, you buy new ones, chuck them. I'm a big fan of donating clothes too, whether it be bringing them to Goodwill. And after working at Surfside, what I'll do is when I go through my clothes, I'll just bring a bag over to the house and see if any of the newer kids in the house like need clothes.
Stuff, yeah.
Half my wardrobe for a long period of time was pretty much based off of that. When I would move into a new halfway house, people would give me clothes, and that's where I got my wardrobe. Because I would only ever carry around like that duffel bag that I carried this stuff in that like had all my stuff in it. So I don't know, but yeah. So I got this shirt. Actually, by the time this podcast comes out, I'll have been back from Florida. My grandfather's ashes are getting shot up in a rocket to outer space. Who's a big fan of aviation, so it's one of the ways we're kind of sending him off. So I got this shirt to wear at one of the events at the Kennedy Space Center. So I'm wearing my Spaceman shirt at the Space Center. It's gonna be very cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool, and I would give that a 10.
Right.
But for Hawaiian shirts, I don't know. I'm sure some of your family will comment on the podcast and give it a 10 just because I'm not, but whatever, that's fine.
You know what also the cool part about this shirt was?
I think it's cool that your family sent it to you.
No, I bought this one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, the other shirts my cousin Katrina bought. This one.
Katrina, good luck on those other shirts. The blue pineapple one is solid.
Don't give away what the other one is yet. Because
I think Brian should get that blue pineapple tattooed like on his arm or chest or something.
It's all over the place.
Mama Licata would not approve.
She would be pissed. She would fire you from your job.
Could be worse.
It could be worse. You're definitely right about that. But the best part about this shirt is it was only $12.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. I love a deal. Licatas always love a deal. My mother told me from a very early age to never pay full price for anything, which is it's great advice. I mean, if you look hard enough, you can always find the sale.
Patagonia does their 50% off sales.
Yeah, but it's still like $50 for stuff, right?
I mean, but it's sourced. It's not from China. It's not, little kids aren't sewing it.
Where's this stuff made at?
Fair wage. Look it up.
Let me see that hat.
The hat?
Mm-hmm.
Indonesia. I don't know. I don't even know that it has a tag, and I probably ripped the tag out.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so one thing I was actually going over with my...
Hold on.
You want to go through this first?
Well, I want to actually ask a question. You get to talk about your clothing.
Uh-huh.
I want to show the new Surfside logo for alumni, friends and family, brothers.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool hat.
With our little logo. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, they're sweet. I got the black and
blue.
Blue, yeah, the black and blue.
Chill, yeah.
I like, yeah.
It was the first time we ever did a black and white hat. And they seem to be in high demand. I didn't get enough of them.
I like the blue better,
personally. Blue looks clean.
Yeah.
Blue is good.
I think it looks nice. How'd you come up with that logo? Oh, you know what? This is what I wanted to ask you.
Tyler did.
Tyler made the logo?
I told him kind of what I was thinking. And
so what were the other running names for Surfside before you settled on Surfside? Because there had to be some other ones that you had.
There was Shore Break.
Okay.
And I think my wife ultimately picked Surfside.
Okay.
My wife also picked the Rebuild, Rediscover, Recover. She came up with that. Mm-hmm. And then a company out of Connecticut bit that. And
what do you mean?
There's a sober living for executives in Connecticut. It's like $12,000 a month or $14,000. It's $12,000 a month for a double. It's like $16,000 for a single
room.
Yeah. The house is like unreal.
It's probably pretty cool. Yeah.
Unreal.
They probably got like a couple chefs.
Oh yeah. You don't do anything for yourself. Yeah. I mean, it's literally for like Manhattan executives.
Right.
So not for nothing, $12,000 for that versus whatever they're paying in Manhattan, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, they bit our tagline and it's something like restore, rebuild, and recover.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we definitely have been around longer.
So, all right. So Shore Break
was one.
I don't know why I was thinking about this. It was like 2 days ago. I was driving the car. I'm like, I wonder what the other names were.
Surfside was like a strong candidate from the get-go. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I thought it'd be pretty cool if you had some like old video footage from when you started, because I think it'd be cool to have like a little historical documentary of like how the program started, just from a film aspect.
I was running. I was living in Brigantine, and I was literally running one night. And I was like, came back from an AA meeting, and we have a problem in our area that isn't. It's not just a problem in our area. It's really everywhere where, some of the housing, Florida model type programs, partial care with housing. One of them is no longer here, but it seems like the guys come and they never get involved, and I would, I
never get involved in
recovery, in 12-step recovery. Right. And I would I would try to talk to them, but they didn't want anything to do with anybody. And weren't getting sponsors. And quite honestly, I don't know if that's the case, because there's a couple different 12-step fellowships. So maybe they were just getting involved in like a different 12-step fellowship, but
possible. Very possible.
But in the majority, it seemed like, they weren't getting involved. It seemed like they were kind of in and out and in and out and in and out. And I remember being a part of, I worked for a program in New Hampshire, and up in New England, there's a couple programs that do things that, similar to Surfside. Everyone's got their own kind of flavor, but
right. Yeah. Different flair.
Same idea. And they're all like pretty expensive. I mean, starting at $6,500, going up to $14,000 a month. And I mean, ever since I got sober, it actually says it in Bill's story. He talks about fancying himself a leader. And I always kind of felt like I could do a better job. I worked for one that was a lot of smoke and mirrors, which is why I left. And I think that, I always kind of had in the back of my mind, like we used to do things like the one that I worked for, like in the brochure, it said we went paintballing.
Right.
I worked there for a year. We went paintballing once. Like personally, that doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't warrant being in the brochure.
Right. Yeah.
We did do it, but we don't do it, know? And, so I always kind of imagined like, that there could be something that really showed like the joys of recovery, sobriety, activities, like all this different type of stuff. And I thought I could do it better.
Which I think that's a really good.
So I was running basically, and
you like on a jog,
literally.
Got it.
At night, and me and my wife, there was a book, Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover. We started doing that about a year before, and we dug ourselves out of pretty substantial debt. And, and I just thought like maybe I could like scrounge a couple pennies together and put it together. And I took a small business loan, and we got a house. She gave me the blessing, and I started putting some numbers together, and we tried to do it. And because I also think back to like my family where I grew up in very standard middle class. My mom drove a school bus. My dad worked at a wastewater treatment plant. My grandfather was a judge. He put some money aside for me for college, or once I graduated college. And I pissed most of it away on lawyers and fines and therapists and military school. We did Valley Forge Military School, which is $2,000 a month for 10 months. And that was when I was 14. And, I started putting some stuff together, and obviously I realized like to really do it right, there was going to need to be a cost behind it. But, I was watching like this model in New England. I wouldn't say thrive, but there was a couple programs that did okay. But down here and in Pennsylvania and Maryland, it's all partial care with housing. And if you don't have out-of-network benefits, it's $15,000 a month, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, I think the model is really cool from a patient standpoint because, like, when I was in the house, you knew you weren't really in the outside world, but you were at the same time, which kind of gave it was. I think it makes the transition period that much easier because you're not like
a slow transition.
It's very slow, and you're not like. You're kind of on lockdown, but you're really not, because like our house is in the middle of a neighborhood, so you can like go outside and like walk down the street, so it's like you have the safe haven type atmosphere, but you're still kind of out and about with everyone too.
Yeah, and the difference from like the partial care with housing model is that 5 hours a day you're in group in a clinical office somewhere else, where this is like, okay, it's noon, let's jump on some bikes, let's go down to the gym.
Walk up to the beach.
Yeah, you're really integrated with the community. There's a program.
I got sold when I knew that it was 3 blocks to the ocean. I was like, I'm in. That's all I needed.
There's a program that they were $10,000 a month. They just like rapidly cut their cost because they can't fill beds, and they're $4,500 now. They're in the middle of nowhere, and they're like marketers are going around and like, oh, it's just like Surfside. But we have like 4 guys that went through that program that all relapsed and now are with us, and it's not even close. Which is kind of interesting. And again, it's like, because like what I saw is that there needed to be something like fully comprehensive, something that, right, like one of the biggest reported triggers for people when they're getting sober contributing to a relapse is change, right? So to do this and to do it right, it needed to be in a place where people could go, get sober, and stay sober, and then stay there, right? So, we have this very long, slow transition. Like I remember, when I used to be at the house on a day-to-day basis, and, we needed something from the grocery store, and I'd like pull a $20 bill out of my wallet, and I'd like hand it to one of the guys and be like, why don't you jump on a bike and go up to the store? And they'd like look at the $20 bill, and they'd look at me and be like, really? You're going to trust me to go do this? And it's those little things like, when they go, because now we've got the gift cards in case we forget something when we go grocery shopping. But it's like, the fact that like little by slow, people can start to integrate and start to feel like human beings. And then, think of how many of the guys transition into the area who were like coming in the door, they're like, I'm leaving on day 91, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that was always funny, man. When guys would tell me, I'd be like, okay, look, cool. Yeah. You can definitely leave.
Sure, whatever it is.
Yeah, if you want to leave then, yeah. I don't blame you. You want to go back home? Go for it.
Yeah. And most don't.
9 times out of 10, the guys...
9, we had 1, 2, 3 guys
Watch that mic a little bit. You're off to the side.
We had 3 guys.
There you go.
Jake, Timmy, and Kevin. Jake, you remember Jake?
Yes.
3 guys that ended up, that were like really doing the deal and went home. Everybody else, and they all had specific reasons. Kevin owned a house and was engaged. Jake's family really wanted him to come home as part of his amends. He was like, fine. He didn't like fight that. And then Timmy was doing,
Tyler too.
Oh yeah, Tyler. How could I forget Tyler? Yeah, Tyler like always was kind of like going back to the city, and Timmy was gonna go do, which he is doing, EMT stuff. You know, so, but in most circumstances, it's like this has become the family. I mean, and that's why we did this brothers logo, is because it really, you know, we wanted it to feel like a family and be something special. And I think for a lot of people it is. Yeah,
I've been seeing a lot of things on LinkedIn recently. I think one of the things was something that Gary Vee posted about like work culture. And I was just kind of like listening to what he would say. I like looked at some like slides, and it's like we have a very good culture about in the program and with the work staff and stuff like that too, which is tight. It makes all the difference. You know, I've worked in places where the work culture's shit and the job absolutely sucks. But like when I worked
the day you called me and you were like, hey, I got to run something by you at like 7 a.m. after you worked for us and quit and then went for the other job. It was probably one of the best days of my life.
Why?
So Brian was like tired of being a recovery specialist, burned out, understandable. Hey, you'd been with us at that point. I mean, you were a resident, you were the house manager, then you
probably a year and a half
after the house manager, like you really wanted to keep a job. So we like made this position for you, kept you on.
Cool. Year and a half.
Probably total a year and a half. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of your day to day had been Surfside for quite a while, understandably. So whatever, Brian gives us his notice. He leaves. Great. Give him his blessing. Leaves on good terms. Takes this job that I didn't think was going to be all that great, but it paid more and whatever. God bless you. So Brian calls me like 7 o'clock in the morning one day. He's like, hey, dude. I was like, oh, what's going on? He's like, I really got to run something by you. I was like, what's up? He's like, I hate my job.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, I hate this.
And I like had a smile from ear to ear in my heart. I was like, so what do you want to do about it? He's like, oh, I don't know. And, you know, and then we talked and you're like, well, do you have anything for me?
Dude, if you would have told me to like clean the bathrooms at the house, I probably would have taken it 100%. I was done.
Which is, you know, it's nice because it's hard when you're in it and you don't, you know, I suffer from it all the time. Like, you know, we always think the grass is greener.
100%. Always. Everyone does.
It's not. It just isn't. It's just another set of problems. You know, so it's like, I think a lot of life is like trying to figure out like which set of problems are you comfortable dealing with.
Yep.
And, you know, and then we brought you back and that's the end of that story. But, yeah, you know.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that. It's like, you know, you can do that with like, you know, relationships with a significant other. It's like, all right, like everyone is always a little bit nuts. Like me and you are definitely crazy, but it's like, you know, I guess I'm the type of crazy that my girlfriend can put up with, you know, same thing with your wife, you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, really anything. We should call it at the golf course. I kind of coined this term, the acceptable level of shit. Like how much shit is acceptable for it to not, like before it becomes a problem. Yeah. Because everything's not always going to be perfect, but like how much can you endure before you have to do something about it? It's like, yeah, at the golf course, it was how much dead grass or grass that wasn't doing too well could we have before it was a big issue? Yeah. So, and it changed, you know, depending on the season and the weather. You know, some years were worse than other years. So, but there's just like, okay, now this is a problem.
Yeah. And I think like overall, you know, and we see that with a lot of our guys when they start getting jobs, you know, it's like they're not happy and they want more money or whatever else it may be. But like the reality of it is like you haven't done anything. You don't have a work history. So you're not worth what you think you're worth. I mean, in Gary Vee, so Gary Vee, for those of you who don't know, he's this...
everyone's got to know who he is.
I mean, he just talks a lot. He's kind of a motivational speaker. He talks a lot about like business,
entrepreneurial.
He talks a lot about like entrepreneurial stuff and it really focuses towards young adults. And what's good about him is he is not coming from this background of like, oh, you can do anything you want to do. He basically says you can do anything you want to do, but you need to work 12-hour days every single day with no days off to make that happen.
Right.
Like he gives a really realistic perspective.
Which is what I do. I do really like that about him. Some of the stuff I think he says just because, but the realistic approach is definitely very fresh. And that's what I like about him.
And, you know, so many of our guys get insulted when, you know, I'm like, well, you need to go get this job. And they're like, oh, well, it only pays, you know, $8 or $10 an hour. And they're like, well, I want 20. It's like, dude, you can't make your bed in the morning.
Right.
You can't keep your room clean without being told. You're not CEO level. Like you don't deserve $20 an hour. And, you know, it's like what Gary Vee says is like, look, if you want what somebody has, like if you really want, you know, the type of life or the type of job that somebody has, like go work for them for free, you know? And look, maybe for some people that's not realistic, but go like do anything you possibly can to be close to them and to learn what they're doing and do that same thing, you know? And, you know, because he's really quick to say, like, I mean, this is the past month, is it like, yeah, this is the past month since Surfside has opened that I've not been working 60 to 70 hour weeks, if not 80-hour weeks.
This month has been the first one?
This is the first month.
Right.
And it's because we shifted Andrew's role a little bit and I'm starting to trust him and whatever else. Right. And it's unbelievable. I mean, and that's why I said to you when Brian walked in today, I was like, oh, do you think I'm as stressed out as usual?
Yeah, you're so much more fun to be around.
And I feel so much better. I mean, like, you know, and, you know, it's hard. And I don't think, you know, I talk to people all the time. I talk to a lot of individual therapists who want to do private practice. But they just think that they're going to like open the door and hang a sign and all of a sudden
people are going to come to them.
People are going to come, and it doesn't necessarily work like that. I mean, there's a gazillion private practices, you know, and then in addiction or in therapy, I mean, if you look, there's a website called Psychology Today, and it's how you find therapists or one of the ways. And you start looking at these people's things and it's like, wow, actually, I'm going to pull one up.
You know, one of the things that I noticed with this video production company me and my buddy are trying to get off the ground is, and it's another reason why I really like the position I have now with Surfside is, you know, I put in 10 to 12 hour days, 5 or 6 days a week all the time. And then on the weekends, it's like, you know, 4 or 5 hours worth of work or 6 hours or 8 hours. You know, I don't really have too many days off. What I do is I shut down like certain afternoons, like today, after I'm done doing this stuff for Surfside, I'm going to edit a couple podcasts. I'll take 4 or 5 hours in the afternoon off. And I try to do that like once or twice a week to just decompress. But most days, you know, I get on my computer at like 7, go to CrossFit, come back, and then I'm on my computer from 10:30, 11 o'clock until like 6 every day. So got to put in the work.
So I just went on Psychology Today, and here is a therapist.
I feel like you're reading a Tinder profile right now.
So she's been in practice for 17 years. She graduated school in 2005. She is a licensed clinical social worker. This is what she specializes in. You ready? Anger management, Asperger's, autism, coping skills, developmental disorders, divorce, family conflict, grief, intellectual disabilities, learning disabilities, life transformations, marital and premarital, parenting, peer relationships, pregnancy, prenatal and postpartum, relationship issues, school issues, self-esteem, sexual abuse, trauma and PTSD, and women's issues. Also, mood disorders and sexuality issues. The ages that she's focused on: toddlers 0 to 6, children 6 to 10, preteens 11 to 13, adolescents 14 to 19, adults, and then elders 65 plus.
Everybody.
So she specializes in everything.
Right.
That's not a specialty.
No. So what is this? This is where you find...
So if you were going to look for, if you were going to Google like therapist, so what I did is therapist in Linwood, New Jersey.
Right.
Let's see what this one is.
It's kind of a jack of all trades.
This one's issues. Holy.
Let me see that. Let me see the thing you're looking at.
She specializes in depression, anxiety, and self-esteem. The issues she works with are addiction, anger management, bipolar disorder, borderline personality, chronic illness, codependency, coping skills, divorce, domestic abuse, drug abuse, dual diagnosis, family conflict, grief, life transformations, marital and premarital, men's issues, obsessive compulsive, parenting, peer relationships, pregnancy, prenatal, postpartum, relationship issues, self-harming, sexual abuse, spirituality, stress, substance abuse, suicidal ideation, transgender, trauma and PTSD, weight loss, and women's issues. Whew. Also, mood disorders, personality disorders, psychosis, thinking disorders, and sexual identity issues.
Interesting.
Like, that's not a specialty, right? So again, $100 a session, cash or check. She's been in practice for 4 years. She graduated in 2013. So I guess my point on like that is that, we have folks it's BS, right? Like, she's probably a good therapist,
right?
But not in all those things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to specialize in something, you need to specialize in something. Like, if you look at mine, it's only men and addiction. Like, I don't see women. I'm not going to see someone who has a depression issue. If they have a depression and an addiction issue, sure. And in fact, I don't see people right now, but,
right.
You know what I mean? It's like, you got to know what your specialty is. Like, Nick has been in school. Nick works for us. He's just about to finish his master's degree. And Nick really wants to specialize in men with sports related addiction issues. Mm-hmm. Right. So the guys that have like gotten hooked on pain pills because of baseball practice gone bad.
Right. Athletic injuries, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Which is cool. Scott wants to do that too.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like, that's a specialty.
Is there like a risk of like kind of pigeonholing yourself into something that's like super specific like that?
Absolutely. Which is that you're not going to get people.
That's the first thing I would assume, is that if you specialize yourself out of jobs.
We had 3 calls yesterday for Surfside with folks who wanted to come that were between in their 40s and 50s. Mm-hmm. But we're not a program for 40s and 50s year old, right? It's like going to McDonald's and asking for an organic flank steak.
Right. Yeah.
You're just in the wrong shop. And, and I think with our young adults who think they should be like, they should be able to get a job as the manager, but they have no work experience. It's kind of the same thing of like, one of these young adult private practice folks, like opening a practice and specializing in everything and not understanding that like, you've got to work super hard to build this stuff. Mm-hmm. You're not just going to like...
Yeah, I've been learning more and more so that with, video editing and this kind of business is you got to find one thing that you really like and be like really, really, really good at it. Yeah. Whether it's color correction or audio or camera operator, you got to really, if you want to be, Hollywood level or like big production company level, you got to really find something and then be like the best, absolute best at, whether it's lighting or anything like that. I kind of like doing it all. That's why I like this small business thing's great, because I can shoot, edit, right.
That's your target, right? Your target for you and Colin's company, what's it called again? Seastone. Mm-hmm. You should check it out if you're looking to have a video made for something. Check out Seastone Media. Your target is trying to capture what a small business is in a minute or 2 minute video, right?
Yeah, minute or less,
right? And to really capture that. And, Brian's first video, we shot in conjunction, which is the first video on the Surfside website. That was your first.
I watched that this morning, actually.
It's good
because I haven't watched it really since it got released.
It's a good video.
I watched this morning. I was like, huh. All done with an iPhone X and a drone too, which is absolutely remarkable for the quality of the video.
Yeah, it's great. And that's the thing. That video captures, I think it's a little longer, like a minute and a half or something.
Yeah, it's like 4.5 actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
It captures what Surfside is. And I think that's, if you want to do stuff, you got to work hard. Like anybody who knows, and we've talked about this before on this podcast about the importance of hard work and, kicking butt and taking names and not just thinking that you're owed something.
Yeah. I think the important thing is having an outline, having a goal, being able to look back on it to work backwards for how you're going to get there.
Goals and objectives, right? That's what we do at Surfside. What are your objectives? Like
morning goals.
Yeah.
Morning goals. Cool. I think that about wraps it up on that topic. We covered a lot of different stuff, which is funny because we weren't really planning on talking about anything in specific.
Well, I was so worked up in the last podcast we did about enabling. And, a lot of calls that couple days in a row about really not good stuff, families caving and whatever. So it was good. I'd prefer to do our lighthearted.
Me too. I agree.
Talk shit about your shirts.
As always, if you or someone you know needs help, please reach out to Ian. You can email structuredsoberliving@gmail.com or call 609-709-4205.
4205. You'll end up talking to me. It's rare that you can actually get a hold of a licensed drug and alcohol counselor and have a conversation about what's going on. So
give them a jingle. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. Peace.